What is going on, everyone? Drag here. What we are going to break down today is going to be just the different zones in the game and what they're going to guard. Now, first up here, we're going to touch on deep blue zones. So this is going to be one, your outside third. So this zone here. What it means by outside third is basically it's going to cover 1/3 of the field. So that's why with cover threes, so it's looking at the cover three lock here. You see cover three here, there's three deep blues, and each of them are targeted towards 1/3 of the part of the field here. So this outside cornerback here is going to cover areas from this hash mark to the out of bounds line here, usually past like 15 yards. And then the safety is going to cover the middle area, and the outside cornerback is going to cover that outside area of the field. Now, the other deep blue that you're going to have in this game is going to be an outside quarter, and that's big in cover four defenses. So if you look at cover four drop contain, the reason why it's called quarters is because he's covering a quarter of the field. So if you're looking here at the deep blue, it's covering a smaller area of the field. It's going to cover a quarter of it. So from the sidelines to about right here on the field where he is right now, and then other area will be this guy's, then just moving across the field until it covers the remaining portion of the field. So with this route as well, it's going to start covering about 15 yards to anything deeper than that in this area of the field. The other deep blue route you're going to face is typically going to be a deep half, and that's something that you're going to face in cover two defenses. So if you see here, I put deep pass in the field here, and then if we audible to a cover two, you'll see they're just covering a half of the field. So this guy here, he's covering the left side. This guy here, he's covering the right side. Now you can put deep halves at the outside cornerback spot. So you see here, I did that. This is just called an invert. It's basically just opposite of a cover two. So you're going to go ahead and basically just look like this, except for there's going to be another flat here on the right hand side. We'll have to put this guy in the flat here. So it looks like this here. You can see this is what an invert will look like because it's got two outside cornerbacks here in their deep zones covering half the field. So Burke and then the other cornerback over here, they're each covering half the field. And then you can have your yellow zones or flat zones, whatever you need in the inside of the shell. All right, so this portion here, we're going to cover the different sort of yellow or hook zones that you will see in college football. The first is going to be the 3-rec. So basically with the 3-rec, what that's going to do is basically just cover short intermediate areas. So basically once they hike, if they have like any slants or like short posts over the middle of the field, this guy's going to basically just hover in the middle and try to guard that. So aside from the 3-rec, the other zones or hook zones that you'll see, one is going to be a mid-read, which with the mid-read, it's similar to the 3-rec where it's going to cover the middle of the field here. But what it's going to do, it's going to cover deeper routes over the middle of the field. So if it's going to be like a post, it'll basically just guard that post over any sort of short routes or shorter routes like a slant or a drag. It's going to basically just prioritize the post over the middle of the field. Now, aside from the mid-read, the other zone is going to be just a regular hook curl, and you can see how it changes. It's not covering the middle of the field any longer like it is for like a mid-read or a 3-rec. It's basically going to cover a general vicinity of where the player is. So you can see where this hook curl is. It's going to cover this left hash mark area. If I had a hook curl on the right side here, this guy is going to cover the right hash mark area. Now, you can also put curls at the slot wide receiver spot in this game here. So you can see I have a vertical hook here. It's going to do the same thing as it's going to basically just cover this left area up to the middle of the field, about 15 yards, 10 to 15 yards. Now you can adjust your zone depths in the game, so you can set your yellow or flat zones to automatically play a certain depth on the field. Me personally, I like having the zones play where they're supposed to, and then I'll simply just switch stick around and obviously try to stop my opponent that way. All right, so first up here we have the 3-rec hook zone. Basically what we're going to do here is just let the play run out here so you can see how this zone works, or what it's going to cover here. We have drive post here. It's going to first sit back in the middle of the field here and kind of cover the post. And then once these short zones hit, it's going to basically drop down to cover the shorter routes. So we're going to move the user out of the way here and let the CPU hike the ball. So you can see it's prioritizing playing low. As soon as those short routes come over the middle of the field, it kind of sits in the middle at first because it is clearly trying to recognize or see that post route over the middle of the field. And then it just basically will play these short routes like it's supposed to afterwards. All right, so for mid reads here, let's go ahead and put a mid read on the field. And then I'm going to move out of the way here. You can see how it's going to just cover the deep posts over the middle of the field here. We just ran verticals. You can see it's playing deep. So like I stated previously, it's going to prioritize the deep posts here. So if you look in the replay, it doesn't even sit low. It goes right to playing about 10 to 15 yards in the field. That way it is able to cover any sort of post that's on the play. So you can see this post here, he's in the vicinity, he's playing that depth, so when they would throw the ball, he would throw it right to him. All right, so last up here, we're going to show vert and hook curls. Basically what I want to show here is how it plays in its area or its vicinity. So we have a play with a bunch of curls here. So you'll see when he hikes the ball here, he doesn't really move from his general area. So once they hike the ball, you can see he moves a couple yards inside. Otherwise, he stays in the vicinity of his zone. So let's show it again here. So you can see at first this defender plays inside, so he's kind of moving inside, and then he goes and drifts back to where he's supposed to play, which is going to be covering this slot curl. Now vert hooks is going to be the same thing, except for on like your slot cornerbacks. So doing the same thing here. We're just going to go ahead and put a hook curl there and let him hike the ball. You can see with the vert hooks, it stayed in the slot. It didn't move to anybody else because there wasn't anybody else in the vicinity for them to react to. So like this tight end route here, he kind of occupied the hook curl on the previous play. But seeing that there's no other routes here, this guy stays right to the slot wide receiver here and sits in his vert hook, which completely takes away the route. So in this portion here, we're going to cover the different types of flat routes that you'll see in the game. First up is going to be a hard flat. So the hard flat is basically just going to drop straight to the line of scrimmage because it's supposed to guard short flat routes or like short out routes, anything hovering around the line of scrimmage. So this is very good for if you send heavy blitzes and obviously want to take away your opponent's quick reads to the flats. There's also cloud flats. What these are going to do, its basically job is to take away deep outside routes as well as also monitor or cover the shorter routes. But you'll see, and I'll show it in just a minute here, how they take away like corners and how they react to routes in their area. Aside from that, you'll also see soft squats. And I really like soft squats versus formations where they have like a solo wide receiver. So versus like a wide trips or a bunch, because the soft squat will go ahead and man up to the solo wide receiver, and it'll only basically go away from that man coverage if there's a flat route underneath, because then it goes and plays its cloud. So basically it'll play man coverage. If there's a flat route underneath, it'll go and play its cloud flat like it's supposed to. So there are also two other sorts of routes that you can use here, aside from the other flat routes that we've shown. One is going to be a curl flat. So it's the purple colored zone here. Now what the curl flat is going to do is it's going to basically prioritize like intermediate, like 10 to 15 yard routes here. And then if there is none on the field here, it'll play low to cover the flats. So it's going to first play deep, and then it'll drop down and play short. It's similar to how like a cloud flat would work on the outside. Now, the other is going to be seam flat. What the seam flat is going to do is going to basically guard inside vertical routes. So if this is verticals here, it's going to recognize the vertical route. It's going to man up to the vertical route to take it away. And if there is no vertical route, it's going to go ahead and play short. We're going to go ahead and show you these routes now. All right, so we're going to go ahead and show you hard flats here. So I'm just going to back them up here because I want you guys to see it actually like work and how it looks. So we'll move the slot out of the way here, and you'll see that at the snap here, it's going to drop immediately because its responsibility is to guard the flat. So you can see it recognizes the wide receiver here that's on the whip route, and then it goes ahead and immediately dips down to cover it. You see here, recognizes the route, and he drops to play his assignment. All right, so I have PA slot corner here called. What I'm going to do is put him in a cloud flat now, and then I'm going to move everybody to the middle of the field so you can see how he will stay deep because there's no flat route there. It should just cover the corner. So let's let him hike the ball here. You can see he's playing deep in that vicinity because all there is a corner route, so it's going to play deep first before dropping forward. So exactly like I explained before, it's covering the deeper routes in the field towards the sidelines. All right, I'm going to go ahead and show a soft squat here. I just have this soft squat to the solo wide receiver, and I'm making sure to have no other flat route here so you can see how he just stays manned up to him. Let's let the play go on here. They're going to go ahead and call hike. You can see he's manned up because there's no flat route in the vicinity in order to turn off that man coverage. So going over to now a play where there is a flat route. So look at slot cross. We go ahead and have the soft squat here now. And let's let it play out. You can see it's turned off immediately. It goes to play its cloud. So you can see it doesn't drop immediately because it's not a hard flat, it's a cloud flat. So hitting the replay here, you'll see that it doesn't man up to this wide receiver here because it recognizes the flat underneath. It just goes and plays a cloud. So if you're facing opponents that are running a lot of soft squats, that's just a way to kind of cancel it and pick up some easy yards. All right, so I'm going to use this play as well to show how the curl flats work. So we have curl flat here. We don't have an underneath route. So you'll see that with curl flats, it's going to play deeper because that's what the assignment is to cover intermediate routes, so like 15-yard routes towards the sidelines. You can see that's what it's covering. It's going to sit there and play that C route. So there's no flat route, or sorry, no C route or out route towards the left side of the field here. So you see how this changes the way the curl flat will play coverage. He's going to play short because there's no route that is playing behind him. So you can see it stays short the entire time because there's no deep outside route towards that side. Last up here, we have seam flats. So seam flats, we're going to go ahead and show you here that it's going to basically man itself up to the inside vertical route because that's what it does here. It's supposed to match or man up to the vertical route, taking it away. So you can see that it's a great route if your opponent is one of those like vertical spammers. It's just going to do a great job of taking away that route. Now, what we just showed for the curl flats, we're going to come out and show you Z cross. So if there is no vertical route here, it's just basically going to cover short. So let's let the CPU hike the ball. See right there, it played short. Game and defender recognizes there's no vertical route, so it goes ahead and plays flat. So I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. If you guys did appreciate the content here, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like today's video. If you have any questions, just go ahead and comment below. We'll see you next time.